Once upon a time, in a small, peaceful town, there lived a cat named Mr. Whiskers. Mr. Whiskers had everything a cat could ever want: soft pillows, endless treats, and a loving owner named Mrs. Thompson. But deep down, he had a secret dream. He wanted to be a dog. "Why do you want to be a dog?" asked Mittens, the neighbor's snooty Siamese cat. "Because dogs have all the fun," Mr. Whiskers replied, gazing out the window at the park. "They go for walks, chase balls, and get belly rubs all the time. All I do is nap and knock things off shelves." One day, Mr. Whiskers decided it was time for a change. He trotted over to the dog next door, Bruno the bulldog, for some advice. "Hey, Bruno, can you teach me how to be a dog?" Bruno raised an eyebrow. "You? A dog? That's interesting. But sure, I'll help." And so, the lessons began. First, Mr. Whiskers learned how to bark. "Woof!" Bruno demonstrated. Mr. Whiskers cleared his throat. "Meow. Woof?" "Needs work," Bruno sighed. Next, Mr. Whiskers tried chasing his tail. He spun around and around until he got so dizzy he knocked over Mrs. Thompson's favorite flower vase. "Whiskers!" she yelled. "Oops," he mumbled, hiding under the couch. Then came the hardest lesson of all: fetch. Bruno tossed a tennis ball across the yard. Mr. Whiskers just stared at it. "Well, go get it." "You threw it," Mr. Whiskers said, confused. "Why would I bring it back?" Bruno sighed. "Being a dog is harder than it looks, huh?" But Mr. Whiskers was determined. He practiced day and night, barking at mail carriers, rolling over, and even trying to enjoy kibble, which he quickly spat out. Finally, one day, Mrs. Thompson took Mr. Whiskers to the park. There, he saw a group of dogs playing. This was his chance to prove he was one of them. He strutted over to the biggest dog, Max the golden retriever, and proudly said, "Woof." Max looked at him and wagged his tail. "Nice try, cat." "But I'm one of you now," Mr. Whiskers insisted. Max grinned. "All right then. Catch." Max tossed a stick, and to everyone's surprise, Mr. Whiskers leaped into action. He grabbed the stick and ran in the opposite direction, climbed a tree, and sat on a branch, proudly chewing on it. The dogs all laughed, and even Mr. Whiskers had to admit maybe he was better at being a cat after all. And from that day on, he decided to embrace his feline nature, while still occasionally barking at squirrels just to keep things interesting. Mrs. Thompson never figured out why her cat sometimes barked in his sleep, but she loved him all the same.